guys, it's Rose. Welcome back to Journeys in Time and welcome if you're new. So today's video is all about origami, but before we get into that, I would like to ask you guys to please pop over to Rach and Bella Crafts YouTube channel, watch Rachel's latest video, and please show her some love. She's feeling very disheartened at the moment and she needs some support. So if you could do that for me, that would be absolutely amazing. If you haven't seen Rachel from Rach and Bella Crafts already anyway, she is awesome. She puts out amazing videos. She does an awful lot for the crafting community. She brings us all together in collaborations, massive and so well organized collaborations, and it is really tough to see her so disheartened at the moment. So please go and show her some love. Okay, so today's video is, like I said, all about origami, and look at these adorable critters. We have squirrels, we have foxes, and we have little owls. Aren't they just adorable? And they are all done to go with the Fall Friends kit that we are working with at the moment. So we have all our little critters that are in the kit. There's a little mouse missing. I somehow completely forgot about the mouse. But I might go back and do one or two mouses as well. I know it's mice, okay, but mouses sounds nicer. So yeah, I have used different papers for all of these. Some of them are kit related, some of them are just stuff that I had in my stash, things like that, but I will go through all of that with you guys as we get through the makes. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so we're going to start off with the fox fold, but before we do that, I want to speak to you about the paper that we're using. Now, I have printed onto this stuff. This is called layout paper. I got it on Amazon. It's a layout pad. It's from Ashton and Wright. There are lots of different ones available. I can't remember who put me onto this. Somebody mentioned this stuff. I never knew it existed, and I went and got a pad of it, and I love it. It is 50 GSM or 34 pound weight, and it is very light paper. It's like copy paper for all the world, except a lot lighter. Now, I chose to use this because, as we know, it is more beneficial to use lighter paper when you're doing origami for all the folding and stuff like that. You could also use regular copy paper, and I have made one or two of these pieces with regular copy paper. Here's one of the foxes with just regular copy paper, and it worked well. But for some of the pieces that we will be doing, lighter paper is probably better. The fox one, like I said, does work well with copy paper, and the owl one works well with copy paper. The squirrel, I'm not 100% sure. But just to show you, I have used different kinds of papers for these. This is some wrapping paper. You will have seen me using this in my journal. So I made one of the fox ones out of that. That was one of the first ones that I made. It's quite large. I think the paper in this is 4.5 inches square. I'm using a 3.5 inch square today. So yeah, so you can play around with the different weights of papers with whatever you have. I also used some of this decoupage paper, and this comes out really delicate, really light, very pretty. Unfortunately, I can't find the piece that I actually made with this. I have misplaced it somewhere, but yeah, that came out really lovely as well. So if you have some of that, give a play with that. But like I said, I am using this layout paper that I have printed on. Okay, so my square is 3.5 inches square, and we are going to start with it white side up. And I particularly want the whites, the back of this, to be white. This one and the squirrel one. The owl one isn't so, it doesn't bother me so much, but you will see why as we go through. Okay, so we are going to fold our paper corner to corner, but we're not going all the way to the corner. We're leaving a little border, like so. We're going to crease that down. Then we're going to turn it over, and we are taking our corners and we are folding it back along this edge. So folding it not right to the bottom either, not right to this corner, but we're butting it up against itself, that edge up against itself, like so. And we're doing that on both sides. I'm going to try and get them a little bit even. I can already see that I haven't folded evenly, but we'll keep going and see how this works out. So let's see how precise you have to be. So you can see down here my little borders are different sizes. So we'll see how it works out. Okay, so that is that. 2 very simple folds so far. The next thing we're going to do, we're going to fold these pieces back up. Now these are going to fold at an angle. We don't want to fold it right to this corner here. We want to leave a little piece down here like so. I'm going to lift that up to the camera and show you. So you don't want to fold it right to this crease here. You want to leave it down here a little bit. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side, trying to get them as even as possible. Like so. And then we are going to take these little edges that we have left, these little edges here, and we're just going to fold that back along the edge of that piece that we folded up, like so. Same on the other side. That's what we have so far. Then we're going to take the top piece here and we are going to fold it down. So now this is where one of my folds here are uneven, so I'm going to try to adjust this a little bit just so that I can get this next fold right. There we go, fold that back in again. And I'm going to take this top piece here and I'm going to fold it where those pieces come up over, like the overlap. So I'm just going to fold it in a straight line down, like so. Turn it over. Then we're going to take this little point here of the patterned paper and we're going to fold that back a little bit. Like so. And there we have our little fox face. Now the next thing I want to do here, I want to add a little nose. Now you can do this with marker, but I had those little hearts and I am, that fold is not straight. Oh well, I'm going to leave it for now, I can fix it later. I'm wondering, do I want to do it with the heart on top like that? Or do I want to put it underneath and just have the little triangular piece under there? Like I said, you can always come in with a marker and make your nose like that. I think I'm actually going to put that on top. Like so. I think that'll be really sweet. So, and I'm only going to glue the top part of the heart. Get our little heart nose into place. I think that looks really sweet. Now with the eyes, you can leave it like that and not have any eyes. You could put googly eyes on it. You could put little black and white circles if you want to make eyes like that. And there we have a little fox. Now I was thinking also, would this go on the corner of a page? I mean, it could stay there. That would look really sweet popping out of there, I think. Or we could have it like this to this corner and have it pop out a little more. Now, I don't know that I will actually use it like that. I may put it on a page and have something slip in here as a pocket. I may just glue it all down. I don't know yet. And I probably won't decide today. But I just wanted to say that you can also glue down your pieces. You can glue this down, you can glue these little flaps down, you can glue these little bits down if you so want. I mean, you don't have to leave them as origami pieces and they will still look very, very sweet in your journal. Okay, so that's our fox done. The next thing I want to do is the owl. And I am going from easy to more difficult. And when I say more difficult, they're not really difficult at all. It's just, they're all relative. The fox is extremely easy. The owl is a little bit more complex and the squirrel is a little bit more complex again. Okay, so my paper for this one, again, I am using that layout paper and it is 5 inches square. And we are going to start by going corner to corner. Okay, so we have our first fold done, corner to corner. We're going to open that out and do the same from the other corners, corner to corner again. Okay, so we have our corner to corner, corner to corner. We're going to turn it over and we're going to fold straight along the center, and we're going to go edge to edge like so. And we're going to open that back out and we're going to turn it 90 degrees and do the same again. We're going to do edge to edge. Then we are going to take it and we're going to take two of those creases from the corners. We're going to pinch those right at the very edge, bring them together and fold it down like so. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do, we're going to take this flap. So we have two flaps on either side. We're going to take the top flap here. We're going to fold that in on itself to that center crease. Okay, like so. Crease it down well. We're going to do the same on the other side. We're going to flip it over and we're going to do the very same thing on the other side. We're going to make sure all our creases are creased down very well. Then we are going to fold our top triangle along that top edge there. In fact, I'm going to do that from the other side because this one is more even. So we're taking it along these creases here. We're folding that against those creases. And I'm making sure the center line here is matching up with the center line down here. And we're going to score that very well. Now, this is slightly tricky, but it's not terribly difficult. We're going to open these little flaps back out again. We are going to take the very top layer, so you're opening this layer here. Hold where that crease line is and fold it back on itself. So I'm going to bring the camera in slightly and show you that again. So we're going to hold here on this crease line here. We're going to just hold it. We are opening it up and pushing it back on that crease line there. It's not going to fold all the way back, that's okay. We are going to, these little creases that we have here, when we have this folded back like so, we are going to fold those creases back on themselves to reverse them. Okay, I'm going to do the same on the other side. It almost does it itself, almost. Okay, we're going to flip it over. We're going to fold down our little top triangle piece, fold it back up, fold out our two flaps here like so, and we're going to do the same thing again. We're going to take that very top layer, we're going to fold it back like this on the crease. You may have to help that crease fold a little. And we are going to reverse these folds here. We're going to fold them back the opposite way to what they are. Okay. Same on this side. You may have to pick it up and finagle it a little bit, but that's okay. There we have those. Awesome. Okay, so when we're at this point, we have two little leggy bits down here. It's split, and this bit up here isn't split. So we're going to take the leggy bits. We are going to fold this one from the inside. We're going to fold it down to meet that crease, like so. Then we're going to take it and fold it back. Oh, make sure I'm in frame for that. We're going to take it and fold it back on itself the other way and have it meet the crease there on that side. Okay. Then we're going to open it up again like so. We're going to get our finger in between the two flaps of that pointed piece. Okay. We're going to keep this together with our thumb and our middle finger, and we're going to push down on this bit. Okay. And fold it downwards. Now when I was doing this first, I ended up with this and I was wondering, what have I done wrong? And it was just that I folded it up instead of folding it down. Okay, so we're going to turn it over and we're going to do the very same thing again. We're going to fold our pointy bits down to that crease. We're going to flip it over and fold it back again down to that crease. Like so. We're going to open it up like that, get our finger in between those two layers and push. And then fold it down. And at this point it looks like one of those cow skulls with the horns, I think, which is really cool. Okay, so we're going to open it up so we have a little star like so. And we are going to flip it over and we have this little triangle piece popping out. Now, again, this bit is a little bit tricky, but just work with the paper and you will get there. So this has two little pieces here at the sides, okay? Now, you're going to get your fingers in there, but you're keeping these creased exactly where they are. You don't want those to move. So we're getting our fingers in there, kind of pushing them back on themselves all at the same time. It is a little bit tricky, I'm not going to lie, but you can do it. And at the same time as we're doing that, we're going to try pushing on that center piece. And what we're trying to do is make it flatten into a square. So we're working, just keep working with the paper. You may have to straighten it out from the sides. Just keep pushing those creases back into place, like so. Keep pulling, push, pull, until it goes the way you want it. This may take some time. As you can see, it's taking me some time, but it will go eventually, okay? And we want to get this as flat as we can. So I'm pulling these little flaps as well to try and just, like I said, keep them in the creases, but get them to flatten as well at the same time. Now, I have a little bit of jiggery pokery going on there, so I'm just going to pull it out like so. And the same on the other side, until we get it as flat as we can. Now, it's not perfect, and if I were a more experienced origami artist, I'm sure I might be able to get that perfect, but it is good enough. Okay, so that's what we have right now. Turn it over, and we have a lovely star shape there. We could just stop there and have a nice little star. Just trying to even that out a little bit. Okay, so we're going to take our top fold, our top point, and we're going to fold it down on its shoulders, we'll say. So where it meets that other point, we're going to fold it down to there. We're going to take it and fold it back on itself so that it's got a little bit of a point showing at the top. And we're going to swivel it. We're going to take this point down to its shoulders again, like so, and we're going to fold that back on itself again. Oh, I'm grabbing the two of them. Going to fold that back on itself again, so there's just that little point. We're folding it kind of at the halfway mark. Okay, so at the halfway point here, that's where we're folding. Okay, and then we are going to take the whole thing, have it so that the points are pointing towards you and away from you, and we're going to fold it back on itself along that center point, like so. You can see it's starting to take shape, can't you? Just want to finagle that fold a little bit. There is a little piece here that's annoying me. I'm actually going to cut that off. I shouldn't have to do that. If I was doing it right, I wouldn't have to do that. But, you know. Okay, so we are going to take the point and we're going to fold it right to the top. And then we are going to slip it in underneath those two little flaps like so. Then we're going to go to the opposite side. We are going to fold this up the same way. My folds are really not great at the moment, but then we are going to fold it back on itself, but we're going to make sure that it's a little bit above these folds here. We're going to make sure we fold a little bit above those folds, okay? Folding it back on itself, like so, relatively straight, and then we are going to slip that underneath those little folds there, and there we have an owl face. Now, this particular piece does stand up. It's got two sides, as you can see. One side has a beak and the other side doesn't. But I think that this could make a great paperclip piece. So maybe putting a paperclip on the inside here. I would just glue it on after the fact. I wouldn't try, at this stage, I wouldn't try to get it in there as I'm making it. But, and I mean, you could probably do the same with the fox and get a paperclip up in there, glued into place, and have him as a little paperclip. So yeah, so there we have our owl and we have our fox. And the next thing we need to do is the squirrel. Okay, so we are on to our squirrel. Now for the squirrel you need 3 pieces of paper. I have 3 of my layout printed papers. They are 3.5 inch square. And this piece comes in 3 pieces. Obviously we need 3 pieces of paper. We have the head, the body and the tail. You can just make the head and leave it at that if you so wish, but I am going to go ahead and make the whole thing. It is slightly tricky, this one. There are more folds obviously, and there is one particular tricky fold in there. But you know, work along with me and you will get there. So okay, we need to start with the head. Now I had actually gone ahead and started and forgot to put the camera on, so I have some creases in this already, but I'll go through and crease them again with you guys. Okay, so we're going to start with our paper pattern side up. We're going to fold edge to edge along the center. I'm going to open it back, and we're going to fold edge to edge again along the opposite side, so that we end up with a little cross in the middle of our paper. Then we are going to take the bottom of our paper and fold it up to the center. Oops, this one. Fold it right up to that center crease here. We are going to flip it over and we are going to fold both of the sides into the center crease. So there's one. Let's do the other one. This was as far as I got before I realized the camera wasn't on. There we go. So that's both of those. Then we're going to take the top edge and we are going to fold this down to meet that center crease there. And we have a little square. Back to square again. We are going to flip this up a little and we are going to pull this flap down and crease it along so that it meets that edge there down to the center. Now this is not going to fold flat back. That is okay. It's not supposed to. It's going to fold there. We're going to crease where it's laying flat on the table right up into that corner. And we're going to leave it like that, sitting up. And we're going to do the very same on the other side. We're going to take that piece and fold it right down to that center. And we are going to crease it up into that corner. Then we're going to pull our little corners here and get it to lay down flat like so. Now you may have a little piece up here that doesn't want to fold nicely. Just maneuver it a little, you can use a ball tool to get into that little corner and get it to lay down flat. Okay, so we are going to take our little shoulder here and into this center crease we are going to fold it down into the center, and again on the other side fold it down to that center. That's how it looks right now. Okay, then we're going to flip it over and we are going to fold along here, so we're leaving about a 1/4 inch, maybe a little more of this here, and we're going to fold it down to the center crease here. And again, you can use your little ball tool to help with those folds if you need. Okay, so just to show you up close, left about this much, and that is arbitrary. It does affect the finished product slightly, only very slightly. It's just for looks really, depending on how far down you want it to go. And we're going to flip it back over. We're going to take our little pointy bits here and we are going to fold these so that they match these little corners here. Okay, so we're going to fold our little bits up along that edge like so, and like so on the other side. And that's what we have right now. I'm going to turn it back over and we're going to take this edge, this corner and this corner, and we're going to just fold those slightly up like so. Can you see that? Yeah. I'm going to do the same on the other side. Just going to put those creases in. Of course, my bone folder would be handy here, wouldn't it? Just going to get those creases in fairly well. Like so. Okay, so that is the head all done, and like I said, you could just leave it at that. Now I do have a little bit of white here that's not on the other side, so I'm actually just going to trim that off. And like origami artists would say, oh my goodness, that's a travesty, but I'm not an origami artist, I'm playing, so I'm just going to trim it off to suit myself. Okay, so yeah, you could finish there. You could just put a couple of little eyes on here or just leave it as is, and you would have a lovely little, and maybe a mouth as well. You would have a lovely little squirrel head. But we are going to go a little bit further. We are going to take another sheet and we are going to make a little body for him. So we are starting with the white side facing us this time. We are going to do the same thing. We're going to go edge to edge, open it up and go edge to edge again, so that we have our little cross in the center, like so. And we are going to take the top this time and fold it down to the center. Now I'm just going to swivel this and do it from the bottom because that's easier for me. Bring that up to the center fold, crease it, so bring it back to the top, turn it over, and we're going to take our sides in again to that center. Some of these folds are the very same on the head and the body part, which is very handy. There we go. That does not look very straight. Let's try that again. Then we are going to take the bottom and fold that up to those creases. And then we are going to get our finger in under this little flap here. So that's how it is right now, and there's a little flap here. We're going to get our finger right into that corner and we're going to pull across. Okay, and we are going to fold this along that line again, like so. We're going to do the very same on the other side. We're going to get our little finger in there right to the corner, and if you need to use your ball tool to get into that corner, you can always do that. A pencil will work for that as well, guys, the end of a pencil. Crease it down to that line they almost want to lay flat themselves, so that makes it a little easier. Then we are going to open up our little bottom piece here slightly, and this is very similar to something we did on the headpiece. We're going to take this panel here and we're going to fold it back on itself to that edge, and we're just going to crease it up to the corner so that it's still sitting up like that. Okay, do it again on the other side. We're going to take this little flap, we're going to pull it so that it will fold back on itself like so, and we're going to crease it so that it's still sitting up. We're just creasing it along where it's laying flat against the desk, and it will fold down flat here in the center, and we need to get this in here to our little corner just to make that lie flat for us, and crease there so we have this little shape. Okay, so we are going to take this edge, the white edge, and we're going to fold that down to the center, and we're going to take the other side and do the very same thing like so. Now this crease it's not difficult in any way at all, it may prove a little bit fiddly, so I'm just using a ruler to do mine. So we are creasing from this point here, and we want it to come down halfway between those two edges, so between this crease and this edge, so we want it to come about halfway down. Okay, and it is totally possible to do it just with your fingers, but for me it's just easier to use a ruler to do it. So I am getting that there. I'm going to grab my little piece and pull it across and fold it. Okay, I'm going to do the same. That did not fold correctly at all, it didn't go from that point. Let's try that again. Okay, that's a little better. Okay, and we're going to do it again on the other side, getting it from that point, and I'm going to try to make this kind of the same as this one. So in order to do that, I'm going to do it from the other side. So I want it about this much in, the same as that. They're fairly similar now. Okay, so we're going to fold those back on themselves like this. So along that same crease, we're just going to fold it again. And the same on the other side. We're going to pull it up to the top here and fold it back on itself. See, okay, I'm going to show you that again. So this is what we had, and I am just pulling it up like so and folding it back on that crease again. Okay, so I'm just going to pull it up and fold it back on that crease again. Okay, now this is the fiddly fold that I had spoken about. Okay, like I said, it is fiddly, it's not difficult, it's just fiddly. Okay, so we are going to pull this down slightly, and this crease here, so we have a crease coming up the center here, and we have that crease that we just made coming off to the sides. So we want to fold this inside out as such. Okay, so we're going to press along that little cross point there, and we are going to gently finagle it so that we can get this to turn inside out without unfolding the whole thing. If we unfold the whole thing, it actually won't be possible, so it does require a little messing about. Okay, just like that. Okay, so that it folds inside out on itself. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. So we're going to put our finger in here like so. We're going to push on that point and turn it over, and help those side ones to fold over as well. Like so. The other one went so nicely and this one doesn't want to work. Okay, I'm going to have to put it down to get this to work, guys, okay? There we go. I made that look a lot harder than what it actually should be. I don't know what I did. I'm having trouble with my printer at the moment as well. Specifically when I am folding papers and stuff that come out of it. You can see here where the toner is rubbing off. So I'm actually going to have to go and make this again. So we have these two little pieces sticking up. They fold down towards the center, like so. And the next thing we're going to do, we're going to turn it over and we're going to fold this piece in half. So where we see the actual pattern, we're going to fold that down on itself in half, and we're keeping that central line as much as possible as always. There we have that. I'm going to flip back over, and along that center line we're going to fold this whole shoulder piece down to that center crease. Okay, so we're making a nice little point at the top and we're keeping it along that center crease. We're going to do that on both sides. And actually, if we turn that upside down, it almost looks like a fox face again. Ah, love it. But that's not what we're doing. Okay, so we are going to take these little pieces that we just folded down, and there's a little line here where there's another fold, and actually it's working out well that this stuff is rubbing off. You can see the lines very easily on it now. Bonus! Okay, so we're just going to fold those back along those lines there, like so. Same on the other side, like so. And that's what we have now. I love all the different shapes that kind of come about as you make these things. I mean, that almost looks like an insect now, which is really cool. So we're going to flip it over, and we're going to take each of these points and we're going to fold them back on themselves along their own edge, like so. Okay, that's one. And two. We're going to do the same on the bottoms. And then we're going to take these top ones that are at the pointy end and we're going to fold them along there. Just fold them in. And the same with this one. Fold it in like so. I'm going to take the bottom ones and fold those up. And we're just folding along the edge, the natural edge that's there. Okay. So that's those. Then we're going to take the very tips of these and we're going to fold them back in a straight line. Now these are kind of fairly, what's the word I'm looking for? Not commercial. I can't think of the word. This is just for how it looks. What's the word? Oh my lord. It's very hard getting older and forgetting words. It's one of the hardest things about getting older that I feel. I do like my words. So, cosmetic. That's the word I'm looking for. Okay, so these are cosmetic folds. Up there, like I said, not super important. And we're going to turn this over, trying to get all of our little pieces staying in place. I should probably get my bone folder for that. 1 second. Let's smush it down with my ruler, and we'll do the same on the bottom. Turn it over, and then we are going to fold our little corners just up, and again another cosmetic fold, but it does actually help to keep some of the pieces in place, so I would definitely do this one. Same on this side. And there we have that little body that slots into the head like so. Isn't he looking so cute? Now, so what's missing? We need a tail. He's not a squirrel unless he has a tail. So we're going to get our last sheet of paper. We're going to use it white side up. we're going to fold so that there's a little bit of the white showing. We're going corner to corner on this one, and we're just leaving a little bit of the white showing. So we'll get that creased. Then we are going to take the corner and fold it along the bottom edge. I'm going to go corner to corner here. My folds are not very even. Let me see if I can make that a little better here. Okay, so we are going to fold corner to corner. We're going to crease that. Okay, then we're going to turn it over like so, and we're going to take this corner piece. We're going to fold it right to that center. Actually, we're not folding it right to the center. We're keeping it a little bit away. So we're folding it in to be parallel with the center line, but we're keeping it maybe 1/8 of an inch, maybe between 1/8 and 1/4 of an inch out from that center line. Like so. That is not a very straight fold again. My lord. Now, that's a little better. So you can see, there's my fold. And we're keeping it a little bit out from that fold, and we're going to do the very same thing on the other side. I'm going to take it and we are going to fold it up to a straight line this time, hopefully, slightly away from that center, just like so. Then we're going to flip it over. Oh, and we're going to fold these little pieces down. Oh, flush with that line that's already there, like so. And then we are going to take our corners and we are going to fold those right to the center this time. Okay, so we end up with a little kite shape, taking this right into that center. Then we are going to fold these little points into straight lines. Just like so. And just like so. So just like that, okay? I'm going to neaten that up a little bit with my ruler. And flip it over, and we have a little squirrel tail, and that pops into his back here like this. And isn't he just adorable? Oh my goodness. He's got his little paws, his little tail, and obviously you can put your own details on it. I am loving these things. Now this one I would definitely glue the pieces together. Obviously, we can't leave them like this to go into a journal. I mean, origami traditionally isn't glued, but for use in a journal, I have no problem gluing these things. So if you want to go and glue all your little flips and flaps and folds, you go right ahead. Nobody is judging, okay? So I am actually going to go and make this with the wrapping paper that I mentioned, or at least I'm going to attempt it. The wrapping paper may not hold up to all these folds, but I'm going to see, and I'll come right back and I'll show that to you guys, okay? Okay, so I have made a squirrel from that wrapping paper. Now you may notice that it is slightly bigger than the other one that I made, because I made the first one with 3.5-inch squares and I made the second one with 4-inch squares, and that made quite a big difference. So like I said, scale up the size or scale it down, whichever way you want to go with it. Now as to the paper that I used for this one, it's quite a bit thicker than the layout paper, but because it was foiled, I actually found it easier to work with in some ways. Now some of the folds, particularly on the body part, are quite thick, but because of the foiled paper, they are staying put very nicely, and probably even nicer than the layout paper. So there's a little tip if you want to give these a go and you have some foiled paper, that might make it easier for you. Now with this one, it is quite bulky, and it will be quite bulky in a journal, but for such a cute piece, I think it's probably worth it. I mean, isn't that just adorable? So cute. There we go. Tuck it in there. Your tail positioning is entirely up to you. You can tuck it in behind these little pieces back here. Have it at whatever angle you want it. So yeah, I absolutely adore these guys. Now, I know that the more complex ones might be a challenge for some of you, and you know, that's fine, but give the fox a go. The fox is so easy and looks so good. The owl is really cool for adding paper clips and things in, which I haven't tried yet, but I may. And the squirrel is just adorable. I mean, like I said, you can just do the head of the squirrel and have it like that, and it is distinct from the other two, so you can tell that they're 3 different characters. But if you want to go that little bit extra and do the body and the tail as well, it looks amazing. Now you could glue these together and glue parts of them onto your book and have them as little tucks. I will be gluing all these together. They won't be left freely folding like this. Like I said, for use in a journal, I think it's probably necessary. There are some pieces out there that generally don't need gluing down. If you remember last Christmas, roughly around last Christmas, I did some origami bows and they really didn't need gluing as such. So, you know, it depends on the piece you're making. Okay, so that's it for me for today with the makes. I do want to remind you guys that these kits, the Fall Friends kits are still 30% off until the end of September. So if you are still humming and hawing about getting those and you think you might want it, now is the time to get it before it goes back to full price. Okay, just a little reminder to let you guys know. And one last thing before I go, I don't say it very often, I do want to welcome my new subscribers. I am close to 2,000 subscribers and there will be a giveaway for that, obviously. But if you haven't already subscribed, please do hit the subscribe button below. I always try to bring you something interesting and fun to make for your journals. Okay, don't forget to leave me a comment as well, guys, if you want to be in with a chance to win our Zodiac journal this month. I think it's Libra. I thought it was Scorpio, but I think it might actually be Libra. So yeah, all you need to do for that is to be publicly subscribed. Leave me a comment below the video about any part of the video. It doesn't matter what you say in your comment. As long as you leave a comment and you're publicly subscribed, you are entered into that draw. Alright, that is it for me for today, guys. I will talk to you all very soon. Bye-bye. Okay, guys, I just said I'd fly back in and give you this piece of info. So when we were making the owl and we're trying to squash down the square piece at the back, first of all, I found it much easier with the foiled paper. And second of all, I found that if you pull from the corners, from opposite corners on this, pull slightly, squish, pull and squish, it makes it so much easier to get this. I managed to get this one really nice and flat and nice looking. Not that it's going to be seen, but it does reduce the bulk if there's no wrinkling and stuff underneath there. Just thought I'd come back and let you know. Okay.